something there. Blowjonomy.
Look, I think there's a short film in this. I think there's something here. It might be straight porn.
Okay. If you're showing full penetration fellation.
Oh, yeah.
Full penetration fellation. You missed it. I'm saying it again. Full penetration fellation.
I'm talking glory shots and cum holes.
Oh, this has been fun. Alright, so we're going to move into Batman v Superman, The Dawn of Justice.
That's right.
This is essentially the end of the show if you haven't seen the movie and you want to. So see you later, dudes. But if you have seen the movie, stick around. We're going to be going into it in some sort of depth. Full disclosure, wasn't a huge fan, was falling asleep a little bit. But anyway, let's get into it.
Yep.
If you don't want to hear anything spoiler-wise, you should stop listening now.
How's how Superman died?
He's coming back.
He's definitely coming back.
There's no way. It annoyed me. It was part of an annoyance. It was Christopher Nolan was a producer. Like he was like an executive producer or some shit on this.
What does that mean?
He probably had some ounce of creative control, I feel, because they wanted him to keep doing Batmans, but he didn't want to. So I think he got him on as an executive producer so he could still kind of guide it in the right direction, which Zack Snyder seemed to completely ignore and turned it into a hot bag of trash. No, I'm kidding. It wasn't that bad.
I'm the polar opposite. I loved this movie. I thought it was fantastic.
But wait, sorry, just on my point. So Christopher Nolan was involved, and it was just such a, it seemed like a forced Nolan ending.
Yeah, a little bit.
You know what I mean?
A little bit like
he's dead, but we know he's coming. Everyone, even people who don't read comics, knows
I feel like back. Because of...
Why kill him? It just pissed me off.
I feel like that was almost a nod to the old Superman, like the death and return of the Superman. Which is like sort of, even if you haven't seen it or read the comics, you've heard that phrase. So it's kind of like... And it's because here, if we're going to get right into it, Superman is sort of an analog for Jesus Christ in a lot of ways. And that's what... This movie works on
he was a martyr.
Yeah, he is a very deep level.
But real quick, before we get into this deep...
Yes.
Kale is a pretty semi-hardcore comic book fan. I'm way more casual, and this is how we're going to look at this.
Yeah, that'll be an interesting... To be fair,
I know about Batman, I know about Superman, but not to the extent that Kale does.
I know more Batman than I do Superman, but I like Superman.
Now, let's bring it all the way back to the beginning.
Can I just... Yeah, my first just initial reactions. We go in, we see it. We both saw it last night. Immediately. They're doing... So, it opens with the origin story, which Divinity didn't like.
I did not like it at all.
I actually thought it was super tastefully done and quick.
Can you explain to me something?
Yes.
He's floating up in the bats. I don't understand this.
It's a dream, but that was exactly what I was going to talk about, because we sit down, we're watching it, and as Bruce Wayne is being
Bruce Wayne
levitating with bats around him, the name comes up. It goes Batman v Superman, and then Zack Snyder, his name as Batman is flying, and I was like,
No.
I was like, he's already fucked it. It's not even out of the credits.
Batman v Superman came up when they were walking out of the cinema.
Oh, sorry, yeah, you're right. But
Zack Snyder, I think, came up just as he's floating.
I was like, it's his name, and he's already fucked it up. It's I couldn't even deal with it. I was just like... But then he immediately wakes up.
So that was my problem, is 95% of the population of the world understands how Superman became Superman, and I just think it was a little bit of a wasted 5-10 minutes that they spent on it.
Look, we spoke about it. I know people that don't know where Batman came from.
But that's on them. Don't go see a Batman v Superman movie without any knowledge of the fucking characters.
Well, they need to bring in new people. This is a new series they're launching. Man of Steel's involved.
But it's the same origin story. They come out of a theater, they get shot by a mugger. That's all you... It's
all you need, yeah. And that's why
it was quick. And
that's what I like.
But just going into it, the very first thing I see is little Bruce walking out of the fucking cinema, and I literally, head in my hands, went, oh no. So instantly, it was a bad taste.
I liked that origin because it reminded me, there's a Superman comic called All-Star Superman. And it has, I think, the greatest origin story of all time. It's 4 panels and 12 words, and it's just doomed planet, last son, kindly family, Earth's hope. And that's it. That's all you need. And it just shows those panels of like Krypton blowing up, him landing, being found by the Kents. And that's just perfect. And that reminded me of that.
Very succinct.
Yeah, and like this is a 75-year-old story at this point.
Pretend it didn't happen. Let's keep going. I don't know why it annoyed me so much, but like little Bruce just being like too happy.
He was quite happy.
Overjoyed that he's just with his parents. And I was like, wow, it would have been way cooler and probably more like relatable if he was like in the middle of an argument with his parents or something. And
okay,
like,
well,
I hate you. And then his dad gets fucking shot trying to save him.
It was immediately like apparent that this is a new Batman just from that scene. Because like traditionally they're seeing the Mask of Zorro. They see the Mask of Zorro and the like black shapes that look like bats upset him and they leave.
That's why they leave, yeah.
But they were seeing Excalibur this time. And the second I saw that, I was like, okay, so like it's just... I mean, that's not much, but for me, like that actually stood out. And I was all right, so this is like a totally different... And this is a totally different Batman.
Who was the actor that played his dad? Because it was someone familiar. I knew, and I was like, this doesn't... He's out of Friends. He dates Phoebe. And he... Random thing. But I just saw it and I was like, no, you're not the dad. But anyway, so instantly I was kind of like, okay, we're going into this. And then it was just like maybe the slowest 40 minutes I've ever enjoyed of a movie.
Recap. What's going on there? I'm trying to remember it.
It's bad sign.
A lot of setup. I think all the stuff with... I really, really liked the intro sequence when you see the end of Man of Steel from Bruce Wayne's perspective.
That was
outrageous.
I like that. One problem with that is like I was with Montana at the time. She'd seen Man of Steel, but was just like, what is happening right now?
Yep.
And I was like, this is the end of Man of Steel. And she's like, I don't even remember this happening.
Well, see, I saw it with Erin. It was the opposite. And she hadn't seen Man of Steel. And it was like... She was all right with it. And she had never seen...
No, like, it's pretty self-explanatory, but it was just, I don't know, there was something missing in the explanation of, like, what was going on where he was. Because it just went Metropolis, and Montana, not being a comic book person, just was like, but he's meant to be in Gotham.
Who?
Batman. Like... Bruce Wayne,
yeah,
she was
yeah,
like,
yeah.
wait, but isn't his city Gotham? Like, I understood it, because I
think what people don't really understand either as well is, like, in a lot of ways, Gotham and Metropolis are just across, like, a lake from each other.
Well, I said to her, I was like, it's like Chicago and New York. They're close.
Yeah. Well,
I'm pretty sure that's what they're based off.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that actually makes sense.
Metropolis is New York.
And Chicago is
all fucked up. And
yeah, so it's a very quick thing. And, like, he's going to Wayne Enterprises in Metropolis, their Metropolis branch. Yeah, because he sees that there's something happening.
I think it was just... There was just so much they needed to put in this movie. And things had to get cut, so it kind of started to feel like... They were rushing things, like, all right, that's this. And, like, they'll understand that, but they just needed, like, a little bit more to explain these things.
I was saying to you I could have done with a Wonder Woman at least a little more of an intro.
Yeah, I think some exposition would have been fine. Yeah. But you were saying, like, the worst part of this movie was Bruce Wayne messaging her on the computer, being like, who are you?
What are you? And then the picture of her that they show too many times. Many times.
Yeah. And, like, we have no idea what that picture means, but they're like, I'm going to show you again.
Apparently the Wonder Woman movie set in World War I, and that's what she's talking about.
Well, yeah, because she said something about, like, I had to disappear. Yeah, like, we all have to disappear.
Left the world for 100 years.
How do you, just on a side note, she's not going to be an Amazonian.
She's not in this, like, in the new continuity. So this is one of what I thought was really interesting. My boss, he went and saw it just before I did. And he told me that this movie, he loved it. Everyone's panning this thing. He loved it because to him it was a Greek tragedy. And it's sort of very philosophical in the way that you've got Batman. And the whole thing about Batman is that he's just a man. He's just a regular human. Like, he's got some advantages.
Got some means.
That's it. And then you've got Superman, who is a superpowered being.
He's a god, essentially.
Not quite.
Pretty much.
But he acts like one.
Yeah.
Like, he's got the powers. He can't be killed. Then there's, of course, the whole, like, Jesus part where he's the savior. He's powered by the Son, the Father.
But some
the
people
Son.
hate him for...
Yeah, and, like, he's got to suffer for their sins, but he does it anyway. And he's not like them. He was sent by someone else to, like... It's that whole thing. And then you've got Wonder Woman, who is an actual god. She's a Greek god. And that's, like... She's sort of like Thor, but in the DC universe.
Because I wasn't sure. In my mind, wasn't she was just like...
Actually, I think in some versions, she's sort of like Hercules.
Yeah,
she's like a demigod.
Yeah.
But I think, now she's actually like a Greek god.
Okay.
And like invincible, the whole thing.
Yep.
But yeah,
it's pretty dope when she drops in and
she fucking
stops
kicks the shit out of
Doomsday.
It is Doomsday.
Stops Doomsday's like death beam with just her little bracelets.
Yeah, that was actually, and her. I don't care what anyone says. That theme music that plays when that happens is pretty.
No,
ridiculous.
I think the music that there was one point particularly where I was like, this music's not great. Is when
a bit of Batman stuff got a bit.
Some
much.
of Batman stuff and Batman's hung up. It was in the trailer.
Oh,
He's
that
hung
was
up.
fucking crazy. That scene
He's
when the
hung
cops
up, and
looking
then
for him.
There's like Superman Army. What was that? I missed that.
Oh, okay. So yeah, I'd like to talk about that. That's So he's waiting for the thing to decode. He's decoding it in the Batcave.
Yep.
And he falls asleep, and he has a vision or a nightmare.
Yeah.
He has.
They actually, I was reading on the internet, they call it a nightmare, but spelt like
with a K.
K-N-I-G-H-T.
It's the nightmare. Yeah. And that, like, I've read comics that are similar to that. So what that was if Superman had, say, lost Lois, because he says to him in that scene, he's like, you took her away from me. This is what happens when someone that's all-powerful, like him,
loses
his reason to do what he does.
Yeah.
So he has conquered the world. All those dudes that Batman's leading, like, a rebellion against him. Mm-hmm. And so all those dudes had the Superman symbol, all those soldiers, and they're trying to put him
Now,
down.
really quickly, you mentioned Lois Lane. Let's talk about Lois Lane. I fucking hate Lois Lane. Something about her. I didn't like her in Superman, and I don't like her in this. And I don't know if it's because it's like Amy Adams is just not...
I like Amy Adams.
...doing it, but there's something about this Lois Lane that just pisses me off.
I like that she actually is a reporter and does some things to do with being a reporter.
Yeah, there was just something. This whole time, I'm just like, I can't... Like, she was my least favorite character in this movie.
I thought it was interesting, like... Erin was saying her first scene is just her with her boobs out in the bathtub.
Well, okay, full disclosure, definitely not her first scene. Her first scene is her trying to interview a fucking...
Oh, yeah, true, sorry.
Jihadist.
Yeah, no, sorry.
Terrorist cell leader.
I actually forgot about that whole bit, and it's sort of like what sets everything in motion.
Yeah, no, so let's give her credit where credit's due. She was actually doing some pretty boss journalism shit at that point.
Is that her first scene with Clark, then? Maybe.
Oh, it is her first scene with Clark, because that's the first... And I kind of forgot. It makes sense now that I think about it, but I forgot that she knew he was Superman after the end of Superman.
Yeah, that all happened at the end. So yeah, she's talking to him and she's just naked. And that's kind of like a weird scene. She was like, Erin was a little put off by that.
And he just gets into the tub. I didn't really understand what was happening.
But then I liked almost immediately later, it was just gratuitous shots of Henry Cavill's body, just like muscles. And I was like, look, it goes both ways.
With that.
I was like,
you are fucking shredded,
dude. I would eat fucking whipped cream off every party.
You can't act, but you got a fucking bod.
See, I very much like him as Superman, because
he's okay, but he's just a bit stilted.
Yeah, and I was saying to you as well, my favorite thing about
he was better in this than he was in his own movie.
Yeah, definitely. Although I didn't hate Man of Steel either.
I didn't hate it, but I kind of feel the same way about this as I did with Man of Steel. The pacing was wrong, it was disjointed, and the ending was annoying. Like, so you did not kiss Lois Lane after you've just killed potentially millions of people. Like, I'm sorry, that doesn't happen.
I like that they addressed all that and like sort of tried to make him accountable.
One of my favorite things, because I was slightly disappointed that it was kryptonite.
It was always going to be kryptonite.
I know, but I was hoping that they'd come up with like a different way or something. Like,
it's interesting that
I like that it was the discovery of kryptonite.
Yeah,
like they were like, all right, this is how we figured out it can do what it does and all this stuff. I was like, that's actually kind of chill.
Yeah, I think, what I really liked, though, was I liked the tone of this, and the way it was shot, especially. But the fact that, like, I was saying to you earlier as well, there's no cheesy comedy bit for the audience. Like, there's no